Why do we need big pharma? Why do we need
some amazing things over there.
Thank you
I
for
was
having
getting
me
a little
on. No, I
frustrated,
appreciate that. We sell beneficial organisms for the
It
soil,
almost took away my vibe, man.
bacteria,
I
fungus,
was
microbes. Been doing it since
thank,
2015. So
thank
we
God
got
for this. You know what I
a,
mean?
or I'm sorry, 2009. We got 15 years in the business, so we got a little
So
cannabis
I'm
going
sorry,
for
man.
ourselves.
Listen,
Um,
it's not me.
Started in
I
Colorado,
did everything I could possibly
and
do.
basically the long and that you guys,
I
it's
don't know
tools and a
what it
to
is,
make
but
growers
they was not
and grow
letting
bigger
me get
plants.
on.
Mm. How long
But
have
I'm
you
here.
been making these
Yes, sir.
products?
Yes, sir.
So I said before, we started in 2009 in Colorado. I actually started out as a caregiver in 2000 in Colorado, which is when we started our medical program out there. And I owned a bunch of hydro stores, and a lot of people don't realize in the cannabis industry it kind of started at the hydro store level.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the picks and the shovels and the information was for people who wanted to get into it. So throughout that process of growing myself as a caregiver, the hydro store environment where we're dealing with a lot of growers, particularly at the caregiver or the free market environment, we saw kind of the evolution of how cannabis came into legalization, first starting in medical and then
Mhm.
going into adult use, which started in Colorado in 2012.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Colorado's doing big things out there. Yeah, that's the state. Yeah.
Well, and
So,
yeah, and that was very important for us because from 2000 to 2008, we were medical. And then when Obama got elected, he told Holder, Eric Holder, who was the attorney general at the time, he gave us the right to open like a brick and mortar free market type environment in Colorado in 2009. So that really allowed the cannabis industry to kind of expand and spawn in Colorado. And at that time, we had a lot of people coming from other states to kind of see what was going on up in that jurisdiction because we had the legal framework to actually grow and sell cannabis at a brick and
Okay.
mortar platform.
Okay.
wow.
Colorado is the place to
So it's been
be.
going pretty smooth for you, right? Have you
I don't think
your sales?
they allow
How much
everything over there.
of the product can people swear by? Talk to me.
So no, so the key really is with the plant, you guys, is value. It provides value for everybody in different ways. So that's really where the product comes in. Is the product ends up giving people access to something that makes their plants grow bigger and stronger and healthier and yield more or less.
Yeah.
And that's what we want in the cannabis industry, especially in the grow your own market and in the commercial market as well. Is we want people to be successful growing the plant because it encourages more people to want to grow the plant and participate in that market. So that's super important, I think, for us
Yeah.
because we tend to take a very similar approach to like probiotics, which are super popular in like the vitamin section in the human element. So that is how we would explain our product. We are probiotics for the soil and for the plant.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
amazing. So are you? So you're providing all those nutrients to the plant, to the soil. You're feeding the soil.
E- Exactly. And when we feed the soil, and soil composition does matter, so I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but
Yeah.
when you feed the soil or you introduce biological organisms into the root zone, it increases the uptake of the plant, which encourages faster yields and bigger growth and more trichome production.
Oh, that's amazing. That's absolutely. Oh yeah. Mm.
Yep. Exactly. So what we're trying to do there, and a lot of it has to do with pH, you guys. So the pH in the soil itself, where it is, or the range in which it is, can determine the speed at the uptake level of the mineral or the element that we're feeding the plant. So think of it kind of like an athlete would. Some athletes eat like bacon potatoes or lettuce and super greens, but other ones take like soluble things and probiotics to increase the uptake of that. So that's what we're trying to do is, if we're active in that soil and root zone, the speed at which your plant can take up those minerals and elements in that root zone is going to increase.
Majority of the
time, Bob, when you were talking about kind of your living soil environment, the key to that environment is air. So if you can maintain some air, you know, like not let the soil get compact, or use some perlite, or use some cocoa, the more air you can get to that root zone, the more and the faster that colony of microbial will develop and grow. Yeah.
Are salts in salts aren't inorganics, are they?
It depends if you solubilize them. So if you take a powder and you mix it in water and it's soluble, at that point it would be considered organic because it's available, versus if it was a salt that you threw on top of the root ball or the ground and it broke down, that would be considered inorganic, which time release is a perfect example. You guys know what time release fertilizer, you throw it on the ground, it takes a while for the plant to take it up. Versus if you're mixing liquids with water, once you get that into the plant, it's immediately available to the plant.
That's how that works. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I can't hear you. No, they can't hear you. What do you want to do? No, we probably can't hear you. It's probably just like if I can see you guys and I can hear everything, this is how it'll come out. I need you to talk. I can. Don't worry, brother. I don't know what's wrong with somebody's connection, but we can all hear each other. Am I right? Okay.
No, I was going to say, I can hear you, Bob, for sure.
Yeah, we can hear you, brother. We can hear you.
Hey, Tom. I'm not getting off this, but I was told that they can't hear me. So I don't want to ruin I don't know what's going on. You can hear me. Yeah, my girl said she couldn't hear me. I don't know. Just I'm gonna try not to talk so much because I don't want to ruin you if you can't hear me on the playback.
Can't hear you, Marv. Now they can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, so go ahead. Okay, that's good. I didn't want to be speaking. You guys.
And great question, and I appreciate that because.
Right. So the soil, you know, the soil is or medium, but right now we're speaking about soil.
Okay.
So I mean,
the organisms, the beneficial organisms, which is what we sell, bacteria, fungus, and microbes.
And,
those are delivered.
For new growers, I think that what the problem
our products are powder.
That they have a
you
hard
mix them
time
with water,
understanding.
and when you mix them, it activates the organism, like yeast.
You know.
Okay.
If they
when you pour that into the soil,
they want to feed
it
the plant,
attaches to the organic matter in there, and it grows or colonizes the root mass.
The soil, you know what I mean? How do you?
Yes. So what you're doing is you're delivering certain things that can do those jobs, breaking down phosphorus, breaking down nitrogen, breaking down trace elements. You're delivering those things in the form of organisms. You're activating them so they go from a dormant state to an actual living and growing state. You deliver that into the platform, which is the soil or the root zone. And then once it hits that, it starts to grow and expand. And in order for it to grow and expand, it needs three things. It needs food, which is the fertilizer or the organic elements that the soil grower would use. It needs water, and it needs air. So in the case of the soil grower, if they brought our organisms into their program with either a nutrient-dense soil or a liquid fertilizer, what it would do is those organisms would increase the plant's ability to take up all of that food that the grower is giving to it, and in exchange or in response, the plant's going to grow much faster.
Oh, that's amazing. What type of products do you have?
So we only specialize in 4 products, and they're all biological, you guys. So what we mean by that is we mean that it's a biological, so it's an organism that is free-forming in the natural world that we create and formulate through the fermentation process.
The fermentation process.
Exactly. So we are creating natural organisms that are in these soils in environments all over the world. We're then attaining those particular organisms and formulating those organisms through a fermentation process. We are then going to, through that process and that formulation, we're going to stabilize them and put them in an inert that ends up allowing them to function at dormancy. Okay, so it's just like a powder. It's just like yeast that you're getting for bread at the store, right?
Yeah.
In simple terms. So the idea behind that is as soon as the grower uses the tech, because it's in the powder, it's less money, it's more concentrated, it's fresher, which all of our products are those things. But as soon as the grower mixes it with water, it activates and brings it alive. So when that grower ends up pouring that activated water with those formulations in it, they're going to get a very positive response at the plant level through the soil. Because for the farmer, they really want to look at the performance of the plant. So what we say to our clients, especially our first-time clients, is you'll see it at the canopy. So when they apply it and they see that pop or that little extra that just happened, that is the forward indicator of the visual that the organisms in the plants are communicating.
That's amazing. How did you guys figure out the science to this, and how much and what to use, and how to activate certain enzymes? How did you do that?
Right. Well, and I'll give you guys the real deal, like real info, is the cannabis industry was kind of the lead quarterback, or they were the ones that were willing to look into these models, perhaps before Big Ag was, because they looked outside of the box. But what I really want you guys to know, and this isn't me selling things, this is me as a user, it increases your yield. The performance side of the plant is always going to be better if you have a living biological environment in the root zone, because all of those, we'll call it systems that are creating, the growth mechanisms of that plant, they're all on full throttle. So it's like, hey, if you don't have the microbes there, you can still grow a nice plant, but you're not going to grow as nice of a plant as if you had the microbes there working for you, which would then increase your yield. Exactly. Based on, in Cannabis's case, it comes down to the term. So an example would be like in the commercial space, Bob, our clients, we communicate that yield is a daily thing, not a weekly or a monthly thing. So if we can show them that that plant is yielding a certain amount a day between veg and flower, which correlates to a much larger grams per square foot at a lower price and a lower time frame.
I see so many people in here swearing by your product. Super Tea Blend is awesome, from getting while growing, and there's that you make these teas. Mhm.
Yeah. So the plant to the best of its ability, you're saying, right?
Yeah. They said, okay, go. I'm sorry. Go ahead, March. Oh yeah, Lorraine. Dustin,
Yeah.
it says,
Right.
Dustin Ryder said, the products
That's
I
what I
use
love. You
double
know,
my
that's one thing
yields
I
per
love, man.
plant
I
and helps
love
being
when
commercial grower. I think
you
that
know,
he's
like the
speaking
product
on yours
works.
as well. What does this
You
do for
know,
the yield?
I love when the
What
product
how the
works,
uptake
you
in the
know,
root zone,
and
even in flower, will
you
be
don't have to, you know, bullshit
increased?
anybody about it. Excuse my
That
language, you know what I mean? And you don't have to
farmers as a whole are
throw that
motivated
around
by yield
everywhere, and,
first.
you know what I mean?
That's what
But
chasing. Farmers are the original bankers.
no, I'm just saying, I just, that's,
So
you know,
they
those are
chase
little
yield.
products
They
that,
want
you know,
bigger
organic
yield. So
products that
if you can
people
give
need to
them a
know about.
tool
You know what I
with the
mean?
tech
It's
and you make it
it's
easy for
important.
them to
You know what I
deliver
mean?
in their
Especially in
current
organic
program,
soil.
and that
And
correlates to a bigger,
some
faster
products
yield,
aren't
then the
legit.
answer
You
is
know what I
yes.
mean?
So that's
Or
the
just, you know,
key
it
is
says it's
where
organic,
does
but
that
it then
bigger,
it
faster
kind of
yield come
says
from? And it
something
comes
else
in
on
the
the
form
back
of
of
the
it. You know what I
uptake
mean?
of the mineral or element. The reason why it works so well with cannabis is because these are plants that are being fed a lot and they're short term, so they're annuals. So what you have is we have a lot of clients commercially and like home growers who they just use that super tea blend all in one as just like a broad spectrum. It's like, hey, I just throw it in my program once or twice a week and my plants grow bigger, right? So that kind of back and forth is what really, that's our marketing plan. Like we don't really do a lot of marketing. Our customers are really the people who do our marketing for us because our customers see the difference between before and after they put us on the field.
They're all in here. They're rooting for you, man. They're rooting for you. How is this? Could you use this in DWC? The soluble
Good question.
stuff?
That's a good question, very good question. So first and foremost, it's 100% soluble. So the answer is yes, you can use it in a DWC environment. However, because the DWC environment is highly solubilized and highly aerated, I would probably recommend it as like a flush versus something that was in there during like the nutrient program, because the nutrient program needs to be highly salinity, so it needs to be that parts per million or that EC that we're looking for. It needs to be oxygenated between the stem and the root. And that's, a lot of people don't realize that about DWC is if you see people getting failure at the DWC level, it's because the water is too high or too close to the bottom of that stem. So if they reduce the level of the water a little bit and create an air pocket in there, they're going to end up getting a much better result. So when you put biologicals in that environment, it still works, but because it doesn't have all of that soil or that organic material to attach to, you have to add it a little bit more often as like a flush versus we have clients who use like living soil bed type environments and models. They'll use it between 1 and 3 times a month. So like one every 30 days or maybe once every 10 days because the organisms are in there and they're growing. So you don't have to keep adding them.
Also, they grow with whatever medium they're in. It's not like you have to just keep replenishing the nutrients. It's how long lasting is it? When would you have to?
That's the idea. So if you have a nutrient-dense soil, there's enough mineral and element or food in that area to support that plant, right? So what you would want is if you were adding, let's say, soluble minerals and elements, salts, AK, what you would do is you would add those minerals the same way you always did, but if you add the biological set to it, you're going to see that those minerals and elements are being taken up at a much faster level because that uptake is going to create faster growth, bigger leaves, stronger stems.
Wow. How long did it take you to realize? Go ahead, Mike. Yes, I can. Colonization. What
Yeah,
is
exactly.
colonization?
It means that we're taking specific organisms, bacteria, fungus, and microbe. We are igniting them or activating them, and then we are colonizing the platform, aka the root zone. Then they colonize or they attach, and then we start to get them to grow. So we're almost like creating little armies of microbials, which is why I want you guys to realize that's why soil is the platform,
I love
because
it.
soil is that's ubiquity. It all starts with the soil.
Yeah, I only grow in soil. This will work. There's
Yeah.
no you can use this in cocoa too. Pure cocoa.
You
Yeah,
can hear me,
you
right?
would use it in pure cocoa, but in the case of the cocoa, you still need the minerals and the elements as far as the food source. So what you would do is, if you added a biological component to that food source in that cocoa, the pace at the element uptake would be increasing.
My goodness, you guys have delved deep into the soil. It's about, a lot of people don't think
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I need that. Yeah, for sure. Right. No,
Seven.
right. There's no. Right. For sure.
What is this?
The idea is so it can only be available to the plant if it's broken down by the organism first.
It's amazing.
Yep.
What is
So
this?
what we're go ahead. Okay, so let's talk about cover
So that's why a
crops,
lot of
because what
times,
we're
like, I
doing
got-
there is we're creating the same environment,
It'll sit for
albeit
a
maybe
while,
a more
you know what I'm
incremental
saying?
or a
When
slower
when
process.
you revamp it, kind of let it sit for a while.
What is
You know
this
what I mean?
polyculture
Then
stuff?
let it start to
Did I say it right?
heat up. You know what I mean? Before I stick anything
They
in
said
there.
like
A lot of
polyculture is
times,
the way.
mix your soil up.
Yeah,
You
well,
put stuff in there that hasn't been broken down yet.
polyculture.
'Cause
Yeah,
obviously, it
well,
takes
and there's a lot of
some time
people
to
who
break
talk
down.
about different
If you
types
stick the
of
plant in there,
coming back to
the plant
growing the
won't be
soil,
really,
right?
nothing will
So,
really be
and this is the
available
best
for it
part about
just
nature
yet.
and this model, you guys, which is why I do reference farmers were the original bankers, because we all hustle for money. We like money. Money's, we like trees. We like shit like that.
Right.
So the idea is the
So
model
it's not
itself
like
compounds.
people are
So the
using cover
more we
crop.
grow the
A lot of people
soil,
use
especially
cover
if it's
crop.
been depleted, the higher the return that we get out of it. So that's the key. If we depleted soil, I want you to realize that
Gotcha.
if soil for his annual cannabis plant, the
Hold on.
composition.
You're buffering. Hold on. Go for it. See if we can hear you now.
So it comes down to Bob's composition of his soil. So if the composition of his soil has the nutrient density in it and the food available to it, he doesn't have to put as much salt or worm castings if he wants to do organics, or we call it an input. So it's like, hey, if the soil doesn't have anything in it, you still have to put those food sources and those minerals in it, whether it's cocoa or living soil.
It has a way of working around each medium, working for each medium.
And then, yep, yeah, exactly. And that component means that you're not disturbing all of the organisms that are underneath the soil. So you're almost creating like a healthy forest floor replica in a small space.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why if you look at the way we farm, we plow the soil up. We plow it. So we expose all of that. ends up doing bad things more than good things. But Bob, exactly what you're saying, if you just pull the plant up and all of the organic matter is still there, you can just add another plant to
now is that would
with
that
the
have
microbes and the bacteria, and then it will go back
like,
to
will I be able to
growing
just,
a
like,
brand new plant.
pull the plant out?
Oh, wow.
And
You
give it a little while,
soil and replenishing it.
put something right behind it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing is, that's the beauty of cannabis. It's a very dynamic environment, right? There's no one size fits all when it comes to any of it. Consuming it, growing it,
you don't see them out there
processing it. We don't want to think one size fits all. We want to think lots of different options, lots of different opportunities, because that's what we love about the plant so much. That's why I love the plant so much, is it offers so much value in the form of the individual in many different ways. And there's a lot of beauty in that when it comes to nature, which is sort of the way I espouse it. And, you know, that's kind of a primary thing about our business is we want people to farm and grow cannabis, and not only do we want them to do that, we want to encourage to participate in the model that we actually fit, which is the living soil model. Even if you're not a living soil environment, if you are cocoa, we can actually prove to you that if you take a biological approach, you're not just pounding it with minerals, you're going to increase your margins, you're going to increase your yields, you're going to lower your costs. And the idea behind it, and this is what I say to everybody in the industry, whether it's soil, cannabis, or organisms, is we keep preaching the cause. Like, we want more people participating and knowing about what we're pitching. Because even the consumer, because you see the consumer, they come into the dispensaries, the smart ones especially, and they know what they want. And the term living soil or sun-grown or, you know, pesticide-free, it's like all of that stuff is being driven by the consumer. So, you know, the consumers knowing more about the living soil environment is good for all of us on the cultivation side.
Yeah, I agree. You have to you really have to take care of what you're putting out into the soil and to the whole earth. To do right by it, and I love that biology stuff. Microbes I'm fascinated by, because I've just started learning from this podcast the term living soil. I thought living soil was with worms and stuff in it. No, but you guys are talking about enzymes and microbes and bacteria and fungi and all that type of stuff, aren't you?
Not only that, but worms are a part of it in a natural environment. So what we like to say is there's strength through the diversity. So if there's a bunch of different organisms within that platform that work very well together, you actually get a better result as a plant grower. So that's exactly it. Composting is the number one thing I would recommend. If anybody wants to get into living soil, go on Amazon right now and buy a $30 compost kit. Because what you'll do is you're no longer going to throw compostable material that you're eating in your trash, so you're going to save a lot of money there. You're literally going to get a waste product that ends up decomposing and into a food source. You can put it in your garden. And I, as someone who sells beneficial organisms, advocate that. We want people to reduce their footprint on the environmental side And then, it's like, hey man, you'd be surprised at how good the plants will start to look if you add some biology back to them versus thinking you're just going to Home Depot and buying some Miracle Grow and, blue powder, if you will. And the thing is that shit, God bless those businesses, but we've come to kind of an inflection point where we have to balance it out now more with biology and less chemistry.
Yeah. I think you should just always go. The more natural you can keep it, it'll be the better. The more you try to change things and add the molecules and things, it's just gonna mess stuff up. It says they said your product is everything you need to feed the microbials and prevent diseases. Bigger roots. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We never got Nat?
I mean, they're just another organism that's present because of what's going on, depending on where you are. But what we have in the case of the predatory bugs or the biologicals, and that's what I want you guys to realize. This is a very big shift in human behavior, and the reason why we're shifting is because we're just starting to figure out what all the things we see under the microscope actually do, and how they work. So that's really the key here is that we're using, in this case, whether it's a predatory bug, a predatory mite, any kind of organism,
I like it with love and God.
using
Talk
that
about the
particular organism to prey on or to consume something that might be considered.
Can I say something for a minute?
And I recommend Andrew at Biotactics. He's really good at it. But the idea there is we now have all sorts of different organisms that we can target pests, particularly the mite. The russet mite is very popular, in the cannabis industry. So we're using predatory bugs and predatory organisms to eat their larvae or to attack them, particularly on the commercial level. It's becoming very popular.
Sorry, go ahead. They attack at a rate that'll help the plant. Like they'll just like the predator mites on the actual things that are hurting the plants. They'll attack them at a rate that it can actually help and save the plant.
Either physically attack them, or more importantly, either get the thing to it where they can't actually produce, or eat the larva or the egg of what reproduces. It's one of those three things. But, bacteria, like the thuringiensis is the most popular one. It's called B. It's very popular. So that string of bacteria can actually consume or destroy certain things.
That would be cool.
Mildew is one of them. There are others that it can consume, but they're using biological biology in order to address a pest issue or.
Hold on. It was a lot. Yeah, I can't even hear him.
Can you hear me now?
I can't. Okay. Can you? I need you to go back and say it's some feedback from somewhere. It's quiet here in the studio, but I would need you to say all that again because I really didn't hear anything.
Well, the cliff notes is the pest control can be applied via biological organisms, like Bob had said, predatory things. So we're actually using bugs or organisms to attack or to keep other pests, or powdery mildew would be a very popular one in the cannabis industry, to keep those at bay.
A lot of people can't hear.
Amazing. They said there's something playing in the background. I heard that fine. Did you hear that fine, Bob? Yeah. So, what are the best results with your product, indoor or outdoor grown?
So it's a good question. So it's a soil product, so it can be used indoor or outdoor. You know, and I'll give you the two experiences differently. Is indoor, it's usually an environment where it's containerized, okay, or it's a living bed. Are you guys familiar with those living beds that are being promoted now?
No. What is it? What's a living bed? Soil with the living stuff in it?
Well, it's a raised bed where they're doing a living soil grow model.
Oh. What?
And it's like Jeremy at Build a Soil, he's the one who promoted that from the beginning. He's a former customer of mine from Colorado, and he's a perfect example. He took that raised bed and he put it in soil, which he then uses the cover crop and the hay to actually grow from start to finish in a living environment. Build a Soil is huge. He's very successful.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. I'm not going to say I have not heard of him, but this is fascinating. Grassroots fabric bed.
Yeah. So that's the idea. Is if it's in a fabric pot in a living soil, you would use it and once a month, every 10 days. But if you were in a container and you were using fertilizer, you could use it on every water.
Oh wow, that's dope, man. That's dope. Yeah. Lorena said real shit.
Yeah.
I grew up in a family that grew ornamental flowers and citrus in a nursery kind of environment. We used a lot of chemicals, and I'm old. I'm almost 50. So during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we used a lot of chemicals in agriculture, and those chemicals were not good for the earth or the people who were actually applying it.
Start being so fast.
So that's my background.
With
when it comes to the cannabis plant, I've been around the cannabis plant my whole life. I started consuming it fairly early, and I know the people.
Obviously,
the kind of the culture or the group of people
you're into anything that
were in it at the beginning and early, and all of the things that kind of came along with that. And as it becomes bigger and bigger in fruition, it always
start this. Are you from a farm or something?
Encouraging people to grow cannabis plants.
Hell yeah.
Who they are, no matter kind of where they're coming from. It's like we want to encourage more people to grow cannabis, both themselves and commercial level, because that actually creates a lot of value. And the key for us, the consumer, it generates wealth, and wealth is a big part of small business. So
hold on. I want to listen. Yeah, we don't, because the voice coming, there's where's that other voice coming from? Is there a TV on somewhere?
not for me.
Not for me either. Right. Oh man, I fucking hate it. Me too. They said they trip out with the voice. I have no idea. What would you like to do? You tell me what you're doing.
Yeah,
from there.
We don't want to miss it, man. We don't want to pretend
you guys
like we're
you guys on Twitter?
No. Twitter
Okay.
was I never understood how to use that damn thing.
Okay, so let me, and I am not a social media person, but I'm going to
Mic check.
advocate for
You guys
Elon and
hear
Twitter
me
for one
clearly?
reason and one
Or should
reason
we
alone, which is
go? I mean, what do you
spacing.
think, Tone? I just want to make sure we
Silly
get some
spacing.
good.
What's
Yes.
that?
We could do this. We could do this minus the video. So we're speaking, but we don't have video. We just have like an avatar. But we can, it's almost like a conference call, more or less. We can actually bring people into collectively and talk about similar interests and topics.
I love
Twitter
that.
Space.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
Twitter
good.
Spaces. I've never heard of that. Is
Yeah,
that new?
no, it's fire. It is fairly new, and the key really is new in the form of apparently people were doing it before Elon, but what they were saying was like throttled, if you know what I mean. Versus now, I think a little bit more market enterprise, maybe like Rumble or even Discord or Telegram. Yeah.
So it's been around, and it's an app you can like go and.
Yeah, you can go in there, and the thing is you may not even ever use your thread or your feed, so to speak. You can just always get on Spaces, and there are Spaces going on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year. It just comes down to your coming into a live conversation, topic of discussion. Mm-hmm.
So
That's fire.
What do you
Dude,
think is thing going on with Instagram and this? I don't even. It's so bad. It's like in and out. It's so bad. Can you guys hear each other?
I can hear you guys.
Yep. You can hear me good.
Yep.
Interesting. I can. Can y'all hear?
Yeah, I can.
Mark?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's IG. They said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's LG. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so that's LG, Lorena Gallagher. She's a food farmer down here in South Phoenix, and I'm working with her. But she's a great example. Is
Arizona?
Yeah. We're down in South Phoenix. But
awesome.
we're growing food, you guys, because we can't grow weed legally. They won't let us do that down here. So we grow food instead, and that's what I'm trying to. We want people to grow food.
Yeah.
You know, it started out with cannabis, and it's like, now we want people to grow food. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mic check.
Beautiful. I don't know about. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now out there?
Yeah.
They can't hear me?
That's a lot.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
My garden is getting bigger and bigger every year. I mean, the food. I don't know how deep we got to get into this, but I mean, I'm definitely trying to be able to. I mean, we only get summers up here to be able to grow. So then I got to get into. Then I got to get into learning how to can, preserve, dry. You know, I got to get into a lot of ways if I want to learn how to feed myself majority of the case. You know, what I mean. But gardening, man, it's beautiful, man. You know what I mean? Like this, when I do my gardening in the summer, that's when I started growing in the garden. You know, I found my love growing vegetables, and seeds, and tomatoes.
Way to go, man. I like that. Anything so, I'm sure I can understand
squash,
it.
You
it's
know what I mean?
Water, water stuff. It's all the numbers, and I'm just like, okay.
I'm growing everything. I'm just trying to. I'm growing things I don't eat. You know.
So, do you guys remember when the government wasn't it ever a thing that when the government didn't want us growing food,
bigger and bigger and bigger, man. You know what I mean? But
does anyone ever know
Well,
growing cannabis
because
seems
there's freedom
way
and liberty and
more difficult than
production.
anything
Yeah.
else
So
I've ever
Yeah.
grown.
I'm
Ever,
always
you
on
know?
the
And
side of the
that's the
growers.
thing about cannabis.
You
But
can
that's
grow
the thing about
cannabis. I
cannabis
believe you
too,
can
is
grow anything.
if you
You
have
know what I
people
mean?
who
It's
know,
just,
and what Bob just
but
described, he's growing
organic
abundance,
seems to
Yeah.
be a challenge
right?
in the
So if
cannabis
he's
world.
growing more than what he could
Where
ever consume,
I seen a
that's
lot of
what
people are
happens is
getting
you
very
start to give it
intimidated
away
by
and teach other
the living
people how
soil.
to grow it.
And
So in the case of cannabis, if cannabis is going to end up being grown and it keeps people away from pills, pharmaceuticals, alcohol,
yeah.
those things are very
Right.
risky. So it's like, hey, if you can actually put cannabis in place of those things, you've actually improved the outcome for the patient and you've lowered the risk profile for everybody else.
Talk to them. That's what they don't like, huh? I've never, well, I've never actually been able to grow any vegetables of my own. I'm in like an apartment, but are they? Is it really? Are they? Do they taste better than the actual store? I'm
That
sure you got.
that is that is without a doubt. That is without a doubt guaranteed. If you grew them, they will always taste better than from the store. Yes.
So what is it? And why is that? Is it because the government is they're adding shit to the maybe the soil or the crop, or why would it taste? What would be so different?
So,
High
well,
production?
first and foremost, you guys, you got to realize because it puts value in the process, not just the outcome, and that is a big fucking deal.
Yeah,
Because if you only go to the food because you want that outcome, but you don't actually understand what it took, meaning the process it took to get to that point, you're not going to value it nearly as much. And on the farm, we would say that's the difference between killing what you eat and eating from a trough. Because those animals that eat from the trough, they don't even look for things to eat. They just go to the trough.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
So
now that is a freak of fucking nature. That's not right. You heard that? No, we're not gonna go put our head to the ground anymore and graze. Where's the truck, guys? Where's the buffet? That's crazy to me. They're looking for the dinner bell is the truck now. That's not a. I don't think that's what it's supposed to be.
You can see the incentives are different, right? And incentives matter. And let's talk about money, especially when it comes to cannabis and beneficial organisms. If we participate in that market, we should be allowed and have the freedom to choose. It should not be prohibited from us. So that's really the key, is if we want to participate in the cannabis market and other people want to participate in the cannabis market, they should have the freedom to do that. And it's all based on one thing, which is demand. So it's like, you know, I mean, people are demanding these things. So I think we're responding to that. More people want access to good quality cannabis. More cannabis cultivators want to grow it in living soil. Living soil grows better with beneficial organisms. Beneficial organisms create healthier people and healthier planet. Healthier planet equals lower risk. Yep.
Right. Fuck it. Right.
Ooh.
Right. Right. And I think, right, that's where our money needs to go. and
Well, right now,
invest
we would call that
our country
conventional
really needs
versus
to go
regenerative or
to
organic, depending
companies
on
like
the term you
yours,
want
you
to
know what I
use.
mean, where
But
you're
conventional has
trying to
gotten us
do
to
the
this
best
point
thing
where
for the
we can
people.
achieve what we've
You
achieved.
could
But the
easily put
scale
some,
at which we're doing
focus
it
on
now is
things
causing
that
more
aren't
problems. So
beneficial
we've got to
to
pivot
us,
or
you know what I
shift
mean, for a
to a more
product, whatever.
regenerative
But
process.
just imagine if we were
Cannabis,
pouring
I
millions
think, is a
into
good example.
companies that
Like I was
were,
saying before, they're
you know,
forward-thinking
trying to get
groups. They
the soil,
consider
indoor
the
soil, to
some of the things that maybe
get
conventional
better, you know what I
agriculture
mean,
would not
from,
consider.
without having
So
to
I
till
think
it
that's
and
important
work
because the
at it
cannabis
hard, you
farmers
know what I
right
mean?
now
But there's a lot of
are an incredibly diverse
companies
group of people. There's a
investing
lot
in
of
a
people
lot
who
of
are farming it,
synthetics.
right?
I
More than
believe
ever. More than ever, people are
than
growing cannabis and producing cannabis
organic,
seeds, which
if you
means
ask me.
it's exponential, it compounds. So the more we can get that out there into the fabric of the culture and the communities, the better off I think the communities will be.
Oh, okay. So I think you. Do you think they're trying to like put a ban on you guys trying to bring this into like a more commercial level? And with the knowledge and giving people the how-tos and the information about the actual soil, you think they? You said it does something to. I forget what you said because we're going in and out. What would be the problem of us just growing everything from being organic? Well,
It wouldn't be a problem. It actually has to do with there's more demand than there is supply.
what is that?
There's
Isn't that all right?
it is what it is, but the idea is it's an incentive for more people to grow organic. So the more consumers who want organic stuff, food or cannabis,
Yeah.
the more organic cannabis growers there will be. Yeah, for sure.
Period. Yeah, okay, I got it now. I understand now.
I
Who's
think
coming in?
sun-grown is going to be another one. I think you see that in Colorado a lot. A lot of people who buy
Sun-grown?
flower and concentrates, they are looking for sun-grown product. Yes.
And that's a big difference. I know that's a big difference. I see the farm. Sometimes I see the oranges in Florida and I almost can't believe my eyes. They're so orange and huge. You know, sun-grown things must seem to like taste better for me. The things that I've tasted out of my friends' gardens, at least, it doesn't really have that. I don't know what kind of taste it is. I always like peppers, tomatoes, even carrots, grown organically. Oh my God, it just feels like you're just treating your body, man. That's all I gotta say. I appreciate it. How do you feel? How do you feel about where the cannabis community, where the cannabis industry is going right now?
You know, it's a tough question. Obviously, there's a bunch of different things going on. The to it is it's growing, it's expanding, which I think on aggregate is positive. I think the more people have access to either consume it or grow it, the better off we all will be. Obviously, within that context, it goes to show you it's a very big market and it's going to continue to expand. It may even get to equity in our time frame. It's absolutely everywhere and everything we consume. It may actually get there by the time we die, depending on how long we live. But what I see right now is I see an overrated market which tends to increase the price or make it difficult for barrier of entry. Which I don't advocate that. I see that in certain jurisdictions. But if somebody were to ask me who is the leader in cannabis in the country right now, I would be crazy not to say Colorado because Colorado has been the leader since the beginning.
What up, Scotty?
Yo!
What up?
Yo!
Yeah, what up, my guy?
Yo! Yo!
How you
What's
doing,
up, guys?
dude?
Good. How are you, sir?
Fucking crushing it, bro. Crushing it. Got the thing
You're
going
looking
here.
good.
Left Oklahoma. Fucking left 21,000 square foot behind. Told them to, you know what, where to shove it, and fucking came back home and doing me.
Full circle. There you go.
I can't
Yeah.
see you, so but it's nice to see you. I had to let him in. Just to show some
No, Scotty's
love,
good
man.
people. He's a good family friend, man. Y'all want to talk about a gentleman that understands microbes and soil biodiversity more than 99% of the people I know in this world, bro. That's the man right there.
Yeah,
He
he's
helped
teaching me a
me.
lot
He helped
tonight.
me get going.
You guys are-
He helped me kind of transform over from a nitrate grower to
Yeah.
an organic grower
Colorado
myself.
is where it's at.
Really?
Colorado
Yeah,
How you
he's
feel
good
about this?
people, man. Y'all are talking to
Never
one of
thought I
the
would
one of the
move to
last real ones in
Colorado.
the industry, bro.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
Well, he knows. Scotty knows. I come from kind of a background of cannabis. My family owned the first grow store here in Colorado. Opened up in '72. My mom's the head of sales and R&D for Owens Corning. So I come from a big
Yes.
background of family that's in this game. So that man right there is a fucking G, guys. Y'all listen
Yeah,
to what he has to
for
say.
sure.
He's
I think
he's making me blush. And don't listen to him when he talks like that. Just,
He's too humble.
Let us hear something.
He's too
so,
humble.
so that being said, you guys, it does come full circle with the cannabis industry because we remember when people would roll into the grow stores, and that's where it started. It all started at the grow store, and it was a place you never shared information, you never shared pictures, and
Right.
then what ended up happening, you would never share that stuff. But what ended up happening is
He mastered the
we,
soil.
and I remember clearly in Colorado, is people started taking pictures of their plants on their cell phones. And let me tell you, I'm old enough to remember IC Mag, which was like one of the first forums where you would see people share information about cannabis, you know, so they could become better growers. And because that's what it's all about. It's about making people better growers.
I love
Yeah,
it, man.
that's
I
what
love
the
it,
industry is
man.
really lacking on right now, guys. Like, you know, people that have been in this game for a long time, myself, TeaCo here, like there used to be a code that we used to abide by, you know, and that code was morals and ethics, you know, it was based upon morals and ethics. And that's what we need to really regenerate and get back into this industry, because this plant, if you ask me, is now being used and abused. And we need to bring that love back to it.
How do you feel it's being abused?
So just look at the breeding, for instance, that we're doing. We're not really looking for diversity in cannabinoid spectrums anymore. With all these cookie crosses, it's high THCA. Not very diverse on the spectrum. Things like that. And if y'all look on my page, we're actually part of a collective here with Tim McCormick from Cultured Biologics, Adam Dunn. Y'all know Adam Dunn show.
Right.
We're actually a
check
collective
them
with
out.
them, and that's something that we're actually working on right now, is preserving some of these old school strains and keeping them around and keeping that spectrum around, bro, because it's just getting to be bullshit that we had all these money grabbers come in here and really fuck this plant up. They didn't realize until now what they're doing to this plant, and we've lost a lot of goods that she can provide us.
Yeah. If you think it's from the breeding, I wouldn't know, but it's from the breeding, you feel?
Definitely. I would say, wouldn't you?
I'm learning from all of you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, breeding, the pace at which we are breeding now in the last, let's say, 8 years, is the velocity is very heavy. There are a lot of people that are breeding this plant for certain things, the same way we bred other plants to do the things we want. So I think the key really is we, you know, to try to balance that out, we try to advocate heirloom. And if you because everybody really can respond to heirloom. So if we keep advocating the heirloom kind of model, we're kind of seasonally breeders end up kind of crossing things. And I am a believer that certain genetic profiles are going to do better in certain types of microclimate. You know, we've definitely talked about that in Colorado with the higher elevation and the higher UVs. So it will become very highly specialized. So I think in the case of the breeding program, when you look at it, heirloom, you're going to see it more like micro and localized. Versus now, if we're talking about, you know, commercialization, now we're just looking at it more like it's a widget, if you will. Even though it's a living thing, We are looking at it more from the context of manufacturing and quality control, where you hit a grade. Think of it like anything in the grocery store: an egg, or a certain grade of milk or cheese. The idea is that the commercialization component is gonna breed for those character qualities to kind of make sure that it's hitting that number every single time. If you're looking for good terpene profiles, or equal, like 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratios, which are becoming very big in cannabis right now, I think you're going to get into a much more sophisticated brand or breeder that has a high level of both experience as well as competency in tech to really hone in onto what they're looking for their customer profile.
100%. And following genetic markers is something that we used to be really adamant about, and following these traits and breeding for these traits. And now it seems to be, let's find a frosty plant, reverse it, and backcross it to itself. It's really interesting where the commercial industry is going nowadays. And it's the same shit that happened in big ag. I mean, look at all of the things that we farm now here in America. They've all been genetically modified, and we're starting to see it as a civilization. Our health is starting to decline. Due to that genetic modification. People are growing.
Yeah, which is why I would always recommend. Bob, when you do your garden, do you collect the seeds at the end of the year to replant them the next year?
Smoke number 420.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the food garden. Yeah. Yep.
Put it in pails. Well, I put it in pails, but the reason why, because a lot of times I was trying to figure out what size
you should definitely pull it out, brother, because if you pull it out and you chop do what they call a chop,
3 gallons.
You're going to be actually adding a lot of nutrition
I change up
to your
the
soil,
pots
so you can actually
sometimes,
utilize your
trying to find the right pit, you know what I mean?
These vegetables and these
So
fruits.
in the
And
past,
add them back
that's
in,
what
and
I've
not
been
only add
doing.
nitrogen, you're adding
Just dumping them in pails, breaking them down,
potash, you're
and
adding a lot of things back into
re-amending
the soil
it,
by actually chopping and dropping
and then
them
kind of
in.
letting.
And if y'all look on my page, like I have a lot on there.
Oh, the fruit garden, yeah, I just got it covered. What I use all year round is just I've been tarping it, and I keep it tarp even when I'm growing in the summer, so it's just kind of like covered. You know what I mean?
You're gonna have more
and I just
colonization
kind of just
colonies
throw it right back into the soil. I don't really
and just
let everything is kind of still standing. I haven't pulled nothing out.
All that stuff just standing there, brother. You need to be chopping it, dropping it, and this whole no-till shit. I'm a very big guy. I think that's just bullshit. It's a marketing term. It really fucking is, because if you don't fucking till your soil, you're an idiot. You're not utilizing what you have available.
Right.
Well, so I'll push back, but there is some truth to that. It's all marketing, you guys. Just so you know. Don't lie to ourselves. It's all marketing. And everybody on this, it's the difference between pork bellies and bacon. Which sells more, right?
Yeah.
So it's all marketing and verbiage in terms with all agriculture products. So no-till, in the case of cannabis, I would suggest, it's true. You don't really need it, or it's not really that effective per se, but what it does is it encourages customers to want to buy it. So if customers are driven by that term, then people are going to be like, hey, yo, this is no-till. And it's, I don't want to be that, but that's the thing with our industry is nobody's coming in to a dispensary and saying, I want the stuff grown in a 6-inch Rockwell Hugo block. Like, That's not what's happening.
Yeah.
Don't tell my mom that.
Or the 12-inch or the 10-inch cocoa container. They're coming in and saying, I want that sun-grown living soil. So you know what I'm saying? Like, and if you can get those verbs and those terms and those marketing things on track and kind of, you know, fashionable, then all of a sudden you can drive an entire industry of organic growers or no-till growers.
Yeah.
Which
Sorry, I know this is off subject, but happy belated birthday, Toasty. You the shit.
Yeah, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. How long we been on here? Okay, so you guys are all are going to go on the reels. I hope you know that. Okay?
I'm done with that.
We have to do this again, guys. Because I have to get the video is going to be so long. It's going to take. I want to get this on YouTube.
You know, I would really like to get in if you want to do something like this again and really talk about biodiversity, soil biodiversity, and things like that. I would really like to have somebody else jump in with TeaCo here, and his name is Tim McCormick. He owns a company called Cultured Biologics. He's right up there with TeaCo. He helped start Nectar of the Gods, if y'all know who that is. Yeah, that's kind of the crew. He's my best friend.
Tim is way smarter than me. Don't try yourself. Tim is way too.
I don't know about that, my guy.
Tim knows what he's doing. He's way smarter. Yeah,
Tim is
that boy is
fucking genius.
Get in contact with Bob Marvin, man. He's the scheduler. I try to tell everybody, like, I don't do this. I pass all the messages to him, and I'll be here. But that's Canna Sessions, and we just talk to everybody, man. If we can catch you guys there, we like to have everybody on. But if you want to like come on and like bring somebody else on into your interview, like we did just now, talk to Marv, man. Set it up, we'll do it. Period.
I just think that there would be a lot of beneficial information when on this subject as far as Tim has to offer. Like I said, he's one of the smartest gentlemen that I know when it comes to growing organic cannabis, and not just organic cannabis. He's actually working on a project right now.
We'll be on Sunday.
Looking at turning soy products into human consumable products, and utilizing that back into the organic realm. So there's a lot of big projects that man's been a part of, and he has a
man. Plus, we'll be on Sundays, man. We'll be chopping it up. Just go live.
In chemistry is impressive. A double.
How old is he? Is he like 33?
He's my age. He's 31.
30. Okay, so all of these guys came out of Colorado in the Front Range because they were all in college when we kind of started. You know what I mean? They were all 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I remember when the Fort Collins and the Denver markets just exploded, Colorado Springs. Because
caregiver days, baby.
Yeah, the back brigade. Because in 2009, you guys, it was trying to be alive. And all of the young people that were involved with that, especially in the Front Range, I shouldn't leave out Boulder, because Boulder and Terrapin Station, and there's a bunch of them. And it was like, really, like, people into the core, because we felt that from our perspective, who were in it on a different level, it was worthy of the risk. And when I see you guys today, where we're talking about cannabis for an hour amongst your grower community, to where we're just like, yeah, dude, we're just trying to teach you how to do it better for your own, like teaching you how to fish. You're going to crush it. You're going to be the woman or the man in your neighborhood, and you're going to teach a whole bunch of people we never meet on how to do it better, which makes us kind of, it's very symbiotic. And I think, Colorado was big into that because we were kind of at the forefront of that, that concept or that model.
Well, one of the things too, Scotty, that me and you've talked a lot about is not only are we going out there and we're teaching people how to do this better and making a more medicinal product, but we're actually going out there and we're saving the earth, man. By growing organics and pulling all these fucking nitrates out of our fucking soil, man, we are saving microbes, we're saving enzymes, we're saving everything that helps our planet be successful. We're saving those things because all we're doing, dumping these nitrates in that we've done for millennia now, is we're just creating a fucking thick ass crust on the top of the surface of the soil that doesn't allow anything to colonize and doesn't allow anything to, do its thing. So it's.
And and when they know that they're doing this, yeah, it is, and because they know it's happening. Some scientists have proven, giving them scientific fact that this is what they're doing to the soil every year, year after year.
Well, it all started after World War II. After was it World War II or World War I?
Shut up, Canna.
World War II. So after World War II, the DuPont had a stock. Go ahead, Scotty.
It was the industrialization of agriculture. Here's the difference. It's getting our inputs, our elements and minerals to feed ourselves and our plants and our animals with petroleum-derived products versus plant or animal manure feedstocks.
Yep. So all y'all are doing by buying these bottles of nitrates in them is paying the DuPonts. That's the fucking truth. You're paying all these big 1% people that have held us down.
Yeah, we gotta cut that out.
Yeah, they got the brand and everything.
That's just frustrating to think about.
Yeah, you can see it's concentrated, and I want you guys to think of this in economic terms. It's highly concentrated, which in the new world, like the old world, it worked. But the new world, it's actually too risky, and it doesn't provide a good return on investment. It actually provides a red, not a black. That's what we need to espouse more. I'm all into saving the world, but to me, it starts kind of at the personal level. It's like, what are you putting your money towards? Because your purchasing power and what you invest in is going to determine the outcome. And we want more consumers investing and spending their money in the things that we advocate.
That's right. It's so good to have you guys on. I like talking about the microbes and everything.
Yeah, man. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And then we start, then you really start going into specification of microbes and what mineral content they're breaking down and things like that, man. You can put yourself way ahead of the rest. I mean, I'm only a 31-year-old kid, dude. I'm young.
Down genetics.
And Scotty will probably attest to this. I've grown in really big places and done really big things, and I really didn't hit the top of my game, I don't think, until I went straight organic.
Yeah. You really swear by that, right? I love organics. Yeah. I love it too. Yeah. It's the only way I grow. But sometimes I'm not. I feel like I'm not getting the whole gist of what's going on in this soil. So now I got to pay a lot more attention. Where can people get one of your products, man? We didn't even say, where can they get some of your products?
Online, TeaCo BioSupply.com. And I can even throw out some discount codes, or just DM me, and I will definitely give you guys discount codes. And then, here's what I would recommend for all new growers or growers who are trying to progress upward, get better at their growth technique, is no matter what brand or what type, we will hold our own, of course, in that category, but get some biological or some microbes in your regimen, because you will see the difference if you end up using that in the regimen. Obviously, we're going to advocate ours because we think ours work really well. But at the end of the day, think of it like any tool, is if you add that tech and that tool into your program, you're going to be a better grower right off the bat, whether you're growing cannabis in a tent, which you will see the difference, or lettuce or tomatoes out in the garden.
100.
Facts, gentlemen. Listen.
And we've talked a lot about bacterial inoculants as well, but fungal inoculants is something that's very important as well. Something that I've been playing with a lot here lately is really trying to understand how these fungal colonizations actually interact with plant to plant. Because I don't know if y'all know this, but there's a Great YouTube bit out there that's called Fantastic Fungi. Fantastic Fungi is put on by Paul Stamets, and it really explains the utilization that a forest, for instance, has with fungal masses. And the fungal mass within our soil medium is actually the brain of our fucking soil, man. When you have a problem, abiotic problem, or something going on with a plant, it's actually signaling through that fungus to the other plants to release those nutrients and give it to that plant that's struggling. So people don't really understand
you
that
gotta
as
feel
well,
good.
and it's
You gotta feel
really
good smoking it
be
and
beneficial to
eating.
the cannabis community because we're breaking down different funguses, separating them and then seeing what happens when we inoculate them into our beds. And so that's another thing, and especially for you, Bob, with fungus, they're going to be a decomposer. They're going to help break things down as well. And something with your chop and drop is, that would be very beneficial to you is by, inoculating with a fungal inoculant as well.
How do you get rid of those gnats?
Me personally, I use biologicals for everything, man. I don't use any oils anymore. I don't spray anymore. I'm complete biological based, so I use all predatory insects and I use nematodes.
I think that's so cool. You guys release insects. You guys release the troops. I think that is so cool, and they go and do exactly what you need them to do, and they don't hurt the plant, man.
Well, it's all
They don't
about
hurt the
they
plant.
can hurt the plant. See, that's the misconception here is they can actually hurt the plant. When you don't have a food source for a lot of predatory insects, they will start to chew on your plants and they will start to find a food source that they need to sustain, right? Not all of them, but a lot of them will. So with living soil, we're talking about biodiversity and things like that a lot. It's, having small amounts of pest pressure in your garden is not a big deal. People don't realize that small amounts of pest pressure in your garden are actually signaling to your plant to release more terpenes, to release more trichomes, to release more cannabinoids. That's why we've used insect frass for so many fucking years.
Insect frass. What is that? I got some of that from down the earth nutrients in my. What is that? I didn't use it yet.
Insect frass is. I'll let you explain, Mr. Scotty, what insect frass does to the plant and how it changes hormonal signals.
Isn't it because of chitin?
Chitin, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So the chitin from the plant signals to the plant that it's being attacked. So therefore, the plant goes through a hormonal change, therefore putting off trichomes, more trichomes to defend itself, more terpenes to smell, defend itself, and overall more cannabinoids.
From the insect frass.
100%.
And you used it. I already got some. I was just like, what is this stuff? It looks like dried up pieces of hay. But yeah, it's nothing really. Yeah.
It's the exoskeleton. It's the exoskeleton of insects is what it is.
What?
Yeah.
Yes, but what Bob just described was a nutritional analysis. So the nutritional composition of the exoskeleton is 4% nitrogen, 1% phosphorus, 1% potassium.
You want to get rid of gnats? Not a lot of people in the game know this, but gnat bites, gnat bits.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it.
They work great.
What?
All it is BT.
Gnat bits.
You'll never fucking see another gnat in your soil. Don't tell people.
Yeah. Put it in your cart.
Diatomaceous earth could be another organic option.
Yeah, but diatomaceous I found
it's just it's mostly like a 3-1-1 type of thing. You know what I mean? More of a nitrogen.
Not be quite as effective just for the fact that when it's wet, it breaks down a little bit more and it doesn't actually cut the exoskeleton of the soft-bodied insect. So therefore, they just crawl right over it. So the only time that diatomaceous earth is actually active is when it's dry and sharp. You want to keep those sharp edge. And what diatomaceous earth is, it's organisms from the sea that have been fossilized for thousands and thousands of years. So they're very, very tiny micro shards of glass. And what they're doing is they're just slicing the shit out of those insects as they crawl across your medium. But if you use this mosquito bits is what it's called. Excuse me.
Mosquito bits.
So
which are little dunky They're a little dunking.
Yeah,
You just soak them in water.
But now they make
I've
them
heard
Scotty,
of
where they're
I've heard
fucking
of using
pellets.
some
I've
sand
been
I
mixing
know,
them
but
Oh,
on
yeah.
top of your
I
soil.
mix them right on the subsurface of the bed, and every time my plants get watered, I'm getting a new fucking dose of BT in my bed, and it just crushes every bit of larva that's in there automatically.
Sick of those fucking things. I had a grow.
You run cocoa,
I
don't
used
you?
to tell Marv, I've never had any bugs on that growing those sweet strains. I've never seen so many. I just wanted them. They're gone now. They're gone
Well, they're
now.
eating the fungus content within your soil, and you're getting a lot of fungal mass within your soil just by, a lot of people don't realize, but if you're overwatering a cocoa medium, you're going to get a buildup of, funguses in there, not only funguses, but algae, and they eat off of that shit.
So I would add on to that is the beginner growers, you guys. Go ahead.
Go, Marv.
Nice.
Most growers, like beginner growers, tend to overwater.
Yeah.
Well,
What about
I mean, they won't bother the plant if it's food in the soil. I mean, you know what I mean? But
yeah?
good luck if you don't have
Yeah,
enough
because there's more
for
space.
them
So
to
the
eat.
fabric pots, they're going to dry out faster because they've got more access to the air, but it does create a much bigger root ball. I love the fabric pots, my friend.
100%.
They are the way to go. Yeah,
Root pruning is a real thing. Air pruning
exactly.
your roots, it's going to keep you from having a circular root pattern within your root base. You're going to have a lot more aeration. You're going to have a lot more even root dispersion.
So you think it's
and if you are transplanting from a fabric pot, you're going to have a way better fucking outcome if you're transplanting into a big.
No, I'm listening.
Do mosquito bits harm cannabis?
No, it's BT.
I was just talking about the fabric pots.
I just answered you. I am Larry W. I pinned you. Shout out for that wonderful question. I've never heard of this actual
A lot of
product,
times
though.
they
Not
just
a lot of
can't
people
wait
have,
to
man.
water.
I come from a family who's been doing this for about 60 years. We've
Yo,
all went to
what's
prison
your,
for it except for me.
What's your name so I can put you? I need it now because I don't know who you are. What's your name?
Loving
On
Ganja.
here. Love.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yo, hit Marv up, man.
Nah, y'all don't need to get me on the show, man. Y'all need to get people like TeaCo and people like fucking my buddy Tim. Those are the guys that have been breaking this shit down and fucking really studying and understanding how it interacts with our plants and how it actually is saving us money in the end. I put in the comments earlier, guys, I used to run 21,000 square foot of cultivation space in Oklahoma. I had approximately 1,000 lights. It usually cost me somewhere between $275 to $350 a pound to create a pound of quality cannabis that tested up around, high 20s, 30% THC. When I switched to organics, I now spend about $55 to $70 a pound. And I'm growing better, and I'm growing better quality cannabis. The THC percentages might not be higher.
We got them, though. We're gonna get them on the show, man. We're gonna get.
But I'm growing a more dynamic
quality. It's a
So that's where the rubber hits the road, gentlemen. It's all about those incentives, and the incentives are trees. And as good farmers, we want to produce more for less. So if we can produce more for less, we don't always go out and celebrate that, even though I'm going to give Dakota a little bit of a hard time. But that's the goal, is to produce something that can get a premium that we actually spend less per unit. That's it.
100. People like me and Scotty came from the day where we were caregiver days, bro. It was legal here to have as many fucking grows as you want, as long as they were all carded, and your excess product could go to the fucking back door of the dispensary. And it was easy to grow weed for $400 a pound when you could go and get fucking $4,600 to $5,000 a pack for it. But nowadays, it's just not there anymore.
Where are these light bills coming from? $4,000 a month?
Shit. $4,000, bro. My fucking light bill in Oklahoma was $25,000.
No, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have no doubt. We have clients that their light bills are 80 grand and more a year or a month. I mean, yeah. And I will say, you guys, that none of that really makes a lot of sense in a free market environment. But
That's great.
you know, so that it would be too expensive. So that's why I want you to realize that the sun-grown. I think indoor living soil models are going to be very effective because what I'm kind of in the new is people really breeding and growing for trichomes specifically because that's, you know, the processors are actually looking for the most. They're not looking for material, they're looking for trichomes. You can get that, you know, that resin component or that swollen fatty environment, the more valuable your, you know, plant material is actually worth. Yeah, so that's why outdoor sun-grown or high elevation cannabis is incredibly it's laden with much stronger, we'll call it like more diverse, much more abundant, you know, call it the entourage effect, which would be a term that people use. So it's a lot of molecules and elements and cannabinoids together, and sort of the breeding environment. You know, it's like, hey, if we're looking for these ratios or if we're looking for this type of molecular structure in the trichome, then that's really what the customer is going to move to. And that's just obviously my opinion, but I see it going into the medical market where there's a lot of money being put into these very sophisticated programs where they're trying to find certain ways to basically develop things that help people who are very sick, whether it's cancer or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. I think that's something to be excited about for all of us because we can do that ourselves in our own home grow, in our own tent. Or, you know, we can expand that to the biggest greenhouse or outdoor cultivation facility that we want.
Oh yeah, you guys got a real good handle on this organic thing. If you guys would be so kind. Well, I can't see the other ganja, loving ganja. I could never see him. But if you could like link me to the people, those two people or whatever you wanted, maybe I could reach out and talk to them.
Definitely. Well, you're talking to one of them right now, Scotty. And then you can go on Cultured Tim, cultured.tim. You can look on my page and follow him. On all my posts, I tag him. He's my best friend. We kind of have grown up the last few years in this industry together and went through the woes and the walls of the fucking crazy ass industry here in Colorado. And I'm really blessed to call him a friend. He is one of the most intelligent people when it comes to, you know, soil dynamics that I've ever fucking met.
Can't wait. I can't wait. I will be you now. I wrote it down. Thank you, man.
Cultured Tim or Cultured Biologics or Tim_McCormick.
Hold on.
And then Bob, I would recommend Soil Guru.
Soil Guru.
Yeah.
They'll be willing to talk about soil and stuff.
I don't know, but he's really good at it, and so is Kiss Organics, as well as SD Microbes. Those guys are all good, and we're all kind of pitching the same thing, which is more biology.
No, fuck Brandon Russ. No, I'm not talking about Brandon Russ. He's a hack.
Oh, no. SD Microbes.
What's that?
SD Microbes. Have you seen them before? Yeah. So they're really good out of California. And Primordial Solutions people, they're very good at it too. But the key is it's biological versus mineral or element.
Yeah. I agree.
No,
I love you guys' method on it.
I was talking about fucking Russ Brandon in Oklahoma. That's who I was talking about. The guy who's fucking putting the humates with a bunch of nitrates and trying to call them organic.
You know,
Shout out.
I mean, I do know who Brandon is. He's very sharp. He knows a lot. Obviously, I think everybody has their own way. But the bottom line is I think we're all for farmers.
What?
I fucking hate that guy, bro. I'm sorry, Scotty. Me and him had it out.
It happens like that sometimes, man.
He's like, it's organic. And I said, well, how come you fucking derived these nitrates from fucking China?
That's a good question.
Right.
If you're gonna,
Hey Scott, man, we gotta get you back on the show.
China.
My name's Paul. That's Paul.
I know. Shout out to everybody that grow. I ain't got no problem with everybody. This is love. It's love.
Sure. And at the end of the day, I mean, let's be honest. It's all really comes back to that common thread, which really is that we're talking about the soil, and the soil really, the soil is the platform. Whether it's food or cannabis, it is really going to thing that kind of sets us free when it comes to the what's going on right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, y'all learn that about me too. Like, I'm a very opinionated person.
Please speak.
If I hear somebody
I'm
that
sure
I don't
you're
like in the
opinionated.
industry,
I'm
you
sure
have
you're
to-
opinionated for a reason. Like, you've done your research, you've grown, you ran your numbers and got the research. You're not just running your mouth. I can hear it in your voice. You're not nothing to fuck with. Like, to debate, you're nothing to play with. Like, and you either. To have I always have a hard time pronouncing it, man. But the guy that we're interviewing right now, he's pretty serious on his shit too. I appreciate you guys. Yes, man. We got to wrap this up, ladies. We got everybody that's in here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for coming. We got to get this on YouTube, and we got to chop this up into reels, man, so we can get this out. This is good stuff, along with like the Max and everybody else.
Yeah.
Why do we need big pharma? Why do we need